Okay, call the June 11th North Station Building Replacement Committee meeting to order at 5:16. Any adjustments to the agenda? Public comment? Okay, approval of minutes from May 14th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
All second. All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Marie, that was aye.
I didn't,
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you. You're on my bad side.
All right, monthly review of progress. Go ahead, Don.
Okay, so, at the end of the month, I sent out a letter, that was the May 2025 progress report. It highlighted work with stakeholders, development of the consultant work, and fundraising, and a monthly look ahead. I'm assuming people have looked at this, and this is not critical to our, that I don't need to go through everything that we did this past month. I'm assuming we want to get to, the more detailed parts of of what we need to come to a decision on tonight.
Okay.
So that is for everybody's perusal. I'm producing these once a month. In a month, I produce a list of all the things that I've worked on, so everybody knows that. The second thing after that is the budget. It is a one-page document that has, it is a combination of the estimated soft costs, which are everything related to the project that are not actually done with the contractor. So that includes permits, it includes, we have to redo some electrical, we are going to have some fit out of the buildings that has to occur afterwards. So all the parts and pieces, including the architect's work, it includes my work, all the general work. So there's a budget here. This budget is about 3 weeks old. So it's gonna get an update in this month. All right, it's not gonna change the overall values much, but it will change them some. So, that gets us to, the next document we should talk about is the brief overview of architectural engineering services. So that says just that brief overview of architectural engineering services for the North Hero VFD and Town Garage, and the recommendation to hire AES Northeast as the project architect. So the design of any public building, there are procedures that you go through. And you typically hire an architect. The architect will do a number of things. That architect will develop with the stakeholders what it is they want. So you got that one, Mike? You there?
June 2nd, 2025?
June 2nd, 2025.
Okay, I just, my packet, okay, couple,
No, I think it was put in that way.
okay.
And they'll do it, they begin with the rawest of information. What do you want? And then they flesh that out, and they do that through a process of what's called conceptual development. And then they do, and once they have the conceptual development done, then they do what's called design development. They take those concepts and they begin to put real detail to them. And the detail becomes something that is usually considered to be about a 75% project. And then from there, they will do what are called construction documents. And you have a bid. And from there, you then have they do construction administration. So there's a series of things that the architect does. So whenever you're ready to pop questions out, that's fine. I'll handle them however you want to do it. So the conceptual development was done for this project by Bob Conecto. It's hired by the town. He did this work over the period of a number of years. He figured out what it was you guys wanted, the size of the building, the various and sundry meeting rooms, these kind of things. Same thing with Public Works. He did all of this work. So he did the conceptual development. We did not ask our architects who priced this project up to reinvent the wheel. We didn't ask them to redo this. What we asked them to do was start at that point and move forward to design development and the construction documents. We need construction documents to properly bid a project. Under the architect's umbrella, typically will be all the work of the architectural design, the mechanical engineer, the electrical engineer, the fire protection engineer, the structural engineer. Those are what they call architectural consultants. They generally fall under the umbrella of the architect. Those people all work for him. He gives to you as the client one price for his work that includes all these other people. So all of the liability, responsibility, all falls under the architect. The civil engineer may or may not fall into that category. Sometimes the civil engineer works directly for the client. Sometimes the civil engineer works under the architect. It depends. So that was our initial approach. Was we knew that the town was going to hire Krebs and Lansing separately because they'd already worked on the project. We asked the architects to give us a price to include the entire project. So we got those prices back. Well, they were really high, much higher than what I had hoped for. So we decided on an alternative approach. And the alternative approach is one that is commonly used. Carl and I talked about this, and he has a lot of experience with this in doing homes, is that rather than hire a mechanical engineer, an electrical engineer, and a fire protection engineer, what we would do is we would leave that work to the general contractor to hire subcontractors who will do those parts of the job as a design build. In which they will provide the design based on their understanding of the drawings. That they'll get them approved with their engineer, and then they'll submit those after the bid is done. The bid will come in saying, we have a complete project, but there'll be elements left that still have to be designed after the bids are in, after we select a contractor. Because the general contractor will have to go hire these individuals, each, let's say, it's not a good example, but let's say they would have hired DC Electric. Dwayne would have gone out, done the design, gone to electrical engineer, said, here's my design, you stamp this for me, or you make corrections to it. And then he would have given that to the general contractor, would have given it to us. That would have been our design. We would have had an opportunity to weigh in, but that's how you typically do these things. So we took that approach. We went back, we separated out the two seemingly most likely candidates and dismissed the other two. We went back to the two candidates and said, give us a revised price because we want to cut this thing down. And both the two companies that we asked, which was ADS and Scott and Partners, both supplied us with a second price. That second price, after that, it became pretty clear that the best price available was from AES Northeast, and under their umbrella was the structural engineer, which they have to have him. He can't farm that out. That has to be part of their design. But it did not include the mechanical, the electrical, or the fire protection engineering. So what we decided to do is that we will separately hire a mechanical, an electrical, and a fire protection engineer to give us what's called a narrative. We'll look at the plans and say, here's what you need to do. It's going to be a couple of pages, but there's no drawings. The narrative tells the contractor how to approach the building, what's going to be required code-wise. It will usually include some, if there's specific equipment that the owner knows that they want, they'll put that in it. So we got the price back. AES was clearly the best price. So that is what is reflected in the second page of this document, all the way at the bottom. There's a comparison of, there's a breakdown of AES's prices for design development, for construction documents, for bid, for construction administration in total for them, for weight structural engineering. Their estimated reimbursables came to a total of $165,925. That's the best price we got. And we have an architect who both the principal of the company and the design architect on the project both live in the islands. And Matt Reed, who is going to be the design architect, is also a firefighter. So he's going to help us, I'm sure, navigate through questions and those kind of issues.
Well, my question, I've got a question here.
Yes, sir.
So. Well, the number that you just put out there is different than what I have here for the June 3rd. Which was 164,675,
Okay,
okay? And this came down after further, it started off, and then it came down to 166,850, and then 675. However, in a lot of these, like here's one here, May 16th. Of course, that's probably an old one, that's 178, 150.
yes, and that,
That's Scott and Partners, excuse me.
yes, that's
One
correct.
seventy-eight, 100 was. And then well, this one here is May 19th. This is a fee proposal there of 180.
Well, remember, Carl, there are things that have been excised out of that.
Right, well, so, I mean, these are things I'm gonna throw away. Okay, but I still have here on the June 3rd one there, it's 164,675, so that does not jive with your 166.
That's 164.
The estimated reimbursable expenses,
Then there's the
1,200.
Okay, so it's the $1,250, so
Right.
160, okay, all right, that's that.
So, my recommendation is you can pay those as you go, but why not go ahead, just contract with them, and then you're done with it.
Okay, well, where I'm a little confused is that you had sent me something here recommending there that we go for the additional $12,000 there with AES for the mechanical and everything like that.
Okay, so let's hold, you wanna do that one now?
Well,
Yeah, I'm
I
happy to
just,
discuss that one now.
well, I mean, let's tackle that one
Okay,
because,
easy, easy. So in this proposal that they did, they included to help us out, they said, look, we'll supply mechanical and electrical and plumbing design development drawings for a total of $7,000.
right,
We will include sprinkler design excuse me. We back up. We will include for $7,000 all the design narrative work for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. We'll include that for the cost of $7,000. We will also include, if you'd like, for $5,175, the cost of the narrative for the sprinkler contract, for the sprinkler design. Those two numbers together come out to the $12,175.
okay. My question here is that if we're putting it out to these subs or whatever, the GC there picks their subs, if they're counting on those guys there to come back with their designs and their prices, then what's the need there for that?
We need a professional narrative to include in the bid documents that specifies anything and everything that the owner wants to have, that the stakeholders want to have. So, for example, there is some very specific air emission equipment. This is an example of it. Air emission equipment that Mike has put together pricing on that he wants to have in his system. That would go into the mechanical design narrative. If, for example, we have decided that we want to only, we only wanted to put air conditioning, and I'm assuming this will be the case, we only want to have air conditioning in the public spaces, not the garage, that'll be defined in the narrative. The bathroom fixtures would be something that would be defined in the narrative. The type of heating and ventilating systems would be defined. In other words, the mechanical engineer is going to say, I want this, and this. He's gonna do it but he's not gonna do a drawing that shows it. He's simply gonna do it in a written form. It'll be usually a design narrative is a page or two pages. And it gives all the details that he would start with before he started doing the technical drawings. So it gives all that information to the contractors. The contractors know, for example, if there's a specific kind of light fixture, or there's something like, one of the things that's going to go in at the end is going to be a drying machine, equipment drying machine, right? I mean, what's the term for that? Tear drying machine. That, they need to know that, because if it has any special electrical requirements, then that has to be known in the narrative so that the contractor can design for that. So those are the parts and pieces. So what you get is you get a little bit of oversight and direction at the beginning of the project without going full on and hiring the engineers to do all the drawings.
So what we're doing though is that we're going from the 160, 165. 165, 925, and we're gonna add the $12,175 to that.
I'm actually going to suggest that we don't buy from them the services of Rand for $5,175. Because I can go out and get that work done for about a third that price.
Well, and that's for the sprinklers.
That's for the sprinkler.
So what does that bring up there, Michael? We had a discussion on that.
Well,
Hang on just a second. So there's another option here.
well, I got a question.
Oh, wait, hold on. But just before, let me finish one thing and then I'm ready.
Sure.
We don't have to hire these directly from the architect. I can go out and solicit numbers from people, and we probably save a little money of the, under the $12,000. But,
Well, we've already taken 5 off, right?
well, if we take the 5 off, that leaves us 7 to do mechanical and electrical. I might save some money on that.
Hmm.
And if you direct me to do that, I will do that. But that money will have to be spent fairly soon, and certainly before we get to the, we're gonna have to go out and find somebody who's willing to do is get a couple prices, get those back, look at them, and then,
Well, I'm assuming there it's going to cost us anyway there that we're gonna have to be spending some money.
absolutely, we're going to spend money, but maybe we can spend less than 7,000, but we're going to spend money in this category. And we're so,
My big thing there is to, and I don't wanna be, penny wise, dollar foolish, but these numbers start adding up with,
yeah, and they're big numbers.
they're big numbers.
I see.
So anything there that we can do to start cutting the number down makes me happier.
Okay,
It would make the taxpayers happier, I think it'd make everybody happier. So, that's my big concern.
fair enough. Would you like, all right, so let me stop there and we'll come back to this. Sure.
So the thoughts to have the narrative created.
You're looking, what they're saying is for the mechanical and the electrical, and the plumbing, it's gonna cost $7,000 for those narratives to get done. Because the engineer does a significant amount of work. It's just that he doesn't have to produce drawings. Most people, most consultants and architects determine the cost that they're going to propose for a project by how many pages of drawings they're gonna have to turn out. And so that's part of their judgment of what will the project cost, because both design engineers and architects basically sell time. They don't really sell a product. It's a very strange thing, but they really sell time. So they have to be very careful with their time. So $7,000, I don't think is an unreasonable price, but if we don't want to hire that from the architect right now, I can go out and shop this around, and if it comes back, they're still the best deal, we can buy it from them at a later time, but not much later.
Right.
So the point in doing this way is we can approve and hire the architect without these additional extras to them. And we can set this aside for, it might be another month or two, another month, it won't be two. But if we could, I can go out and work on these and see if I can get us a better price. And I'm willing to do that.
Well,
I got,
without setting everything way back, I mean. Without pushing us back further and further. I mean, I'm into saving as much as we can off of this. But I don't wanna delay the whole process. If we're talking there, if you're able to say, well, I can save you $1,000. But it pushes us back, if it pushes us back a whole month,
It won't push the project, it won't push the architect back. But it may jam the coordination of their work with the design narratives right up against our August 22nd date, which is when we're looking for, basically for 75% complete drawings.
mhm.
We may push ourselves up against that, so there may be some extra coordination work that has to happen after that. My guess is if you really shop this around, you're probably going to spend somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000, not $12,175
That's with the sprinkler.
with the sprinkler in it. So can we save $3,000? Yeah, I think we probably can. Can we
well-
save more than that, Carl? I don't know.
Well, I'm in favor of saving $3,000.
You had a
uh,
question?
so
Yes, sir.
communication, but if we went out and hired individuals to do the drawings instead of going through one entity, what would the communication look like between those entities so that they're not utilizing the same space for essential equipment for their operation?
Well, the architectural design, Chris, is basically done. So we
Right.
know where things are going to go.
Right.
But that's a great question. What we'd have to make sure is the electrical engineer did not want to use the mechanical room for his services.
Right.
Same thing with the sprinkler contract, the sprinkler designer. So that will take a little coordination on my part, but that's something I think I can do. And the architect, that's basically a one phone call kind of thing. So, but
Okay.
that's a great point. It's a great point.
I've just been on jobs where you're fighting over the same space and then it actually costs 3 times what you saved in the beginning.
Right, so that's a great point, and I will pay attention to that. Either way we do this, I will make sure that we think about this.
So we need to, well, two things. We know that the MEP has been one of the biggest hurdles for us to get accomplished. So you need to recommend, and we need to recommend AES to the select board.
However, the contract has to be rewritten, I see.
Well, can we deal with the contract as a separate item? Can we resolve?
Well, we can resolve the recommendation, of, or this board's recommendation of an architectural firm.
Okay,
But come Monday night, if you're looking at the select board to sign off on the contract,
we need some.
we need to have
adjustments.
we need to have the proper numbers in here.
All right,
and-
you know what we'll do? Well, one of the reasons we don't have those is because until we sat here tonight, we didn't have the proper numbers.
Okay,
I will have this adjusted. I'll have her adjust this.
Yeah.
To the 165, 925.
Yeah.
Along these lines, so she'll have the same, this piece of documentation, this little area here, I'll make sure she reproduces that
mhm.
as the derivation of how the 165 came about.
She will be there Monday,
She will, Lisa Kilcoyne will be there and as will Matt Reed.
okay? And
Right, so hold on a second, Carl. So redo pricing. Yeah, this document is sort of an overview that that allows you to get to here, but it doesn't say the same thing. I understand that.
Okay,
Okay, so redo pricing to show the 165, 925. All right,
okay. All right.
and,
And
and
that's yours, and we will need that by,
tomorrow,
well, tomorrow would be great.
no, I'll have it for you tomorrow. And she's already sent one copy that's directly to Corinne. This is a very brief change for her.
Okay,
Um.
we'll work on the MEP stuff there.
All right, so I will work on MEP. And what I'll say is, within 2 weeks, I will have something back to you, because certainly this needs to be decided. And this, since this committee, basically after today, we don't really have another bite at this for another month.
Right,
So I can tell you, we're gonna be pressed.
okay, so unless in your conversations with AES, if they want to adjust their numbers on that, the MEP stuff.
I can try that. So, the worst they can say is no.
Exactly,
Okay, I don't mind asking.
okay.
All right, so I will ask, we're gonna be, but I will ask AES to adjust.
Cause I'm not sure if the whole sprinkler system there, Michael, I mean, what are your feelings on that? I
Well,
mean,
so the step there, it's not whether I choose or the architect chooses, it's actually up to the state, whether or not they give us the exemption for being the buildings under 7,000 square feet. That does qualify us for an exemption. What
Is
all
it 7,000?
huh?
Are we going from 9,100 to like 7,200?
6,926.
You're just under.
Just under.
Yeah.
So, and the precedent's been set by,
Well, the station in Grand Island gotta be bigger than that. That station's big.
yeah, so those, both those stations, so, but that's up to the state.
did both of those get exemptions?
Both those got exemptions.
Which I find deeply amusing that you would let your fire station on one sprinkler belt. State
Well,
feels that way.
Got a bunch of fire trucks in there, they go off automatically.
Do they?
I
Do they have water that sprays upwards?
I would say that, well, it's up to the state, it's not up to us to decide. But I would. Still have the dedicated line installed.
Wow, so design work could be done there, but until we would find out from the state, the implementation of it doesn't have to take place. But at least you'd have a design for down the road.
Right, and I don't know if Matt had helped facilitate that exemption.
You know what? I've got a particular sprinkler person I'm gonna talk to about this, who is enjoyably known as Stan the Sprinkler Man. Stan Kozowski, I think is his name. I'm gonna call Stan and ask him. See what he says. And he would be the guy who'd probably do the narrative anyway, so I'll give the sprinkler guy a call. Let me start the ball rolling on this and see if I can find out.
Yeah.
And then if there is the possibility of exemption, he would know the process to get an exemption.
Yeah.
So let me check on that.
All right, so. We need to at least make the recommendation to the select board that we're in agreement with. Choosing AES as the architectural firm. And we'll leave that up to the select board to hammer out the contract and.
I'll make the motion there that we recommend AES Northeast. Yeah, AES Northeast, architecture, engineering, land surveying, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That we recommend, AES there as the architect for this project.
I'll second.
There you go, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now, the rest of the stuff, you wanna go back to some of the stuff that was in the packet, now that we hit the priority button?
The only other thing that's in here, I think is really of
You have the main agenda.
concern that, I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, go ahead,
Still your agenda.
let's see. The next on the agenda is updating the drawings, permits, and other information needed for bid proposal.
I think we've done
I
that.
think we handled that. Velco power requirements,
No further discussion.
okay,
That's one of those things that the electrical engineer will tell us, and then we'll tell Velco. Velco will then give us an exact cost to move the poles, but we have an estimate.
okay, so then the next item will be public information campaign ahead of Bonneville.
So that one is labeled Friends of the North Station. Fundraising and marketing plan plus the meeting request.
That's the one dated June 9th.
Yep. So how would you like me to handle this? Would you like me to walk you through the overview of this? Does that make sense, or what would you like to do?
Well, Marie's gotta leave by 6,
She's got 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
I can talk fast. Ready for the overview then?
Yep.
All right, so the initial work of the marketing for this was done by Mike with Stride. They developed a brochure and a pledge card, which has at this point been mailed to about 85 people in North Hero. And there are other people who are going to be receiving it by hand. And we still have some late groups of people that Mike and I are discussing how to deal with. So that brochure is designed to be what we call our direct donor, that's our direct donor mailer. We sent this out, we have hand addressed and sent out the brochure and the pledge cards. Some didn't get pledge cards, first group did, the second group did. And then a personal note from either me or Joanne Tier or from, who's the other one? Or Joanne Holcomb, right? A personal note saying, hi, I'm part of the Friends of North Hero Station. We're raising money. After you've had a chance to look at the brochure, can I give you a call? So I've actually started calling people. So it's been very interesting. I've had no negative responses. I haven't read it responses, which you would expect. My wife's pile of unread mail, sometimes gets to be this high. So I'm assuming other people do the same thing. They save it all and read it on a rainy day. So everybody who got a brochure will get a follow-up call, a personal follow-up call from somebody on Friends of the North Station. So that is in progress. So the direct donors have gone out. We've collected phone numbers, we've called people, we're gonna continue to do that. That following up will happen, we'll stay at that over the next month. The first grand list mailer is going to go out sometime, I think, end of next week, somewhere about there. And that's going to be a 6x9 postcard that was developed by Corinne and me and then someone who's a volunteer. I'm sorry, I don't know their name.
Lisa Cajun.
Hmm?
Lisa Cajun.
Lisa Cashew. Lisa Cashew. And this is going to go to every mailbox in North Hero. And what it really is, it's a hi, hello. this is coming, we're raising money. It's really a graphic of what we're doing. There's no real definition to it as far as the meat of the project, not the cost of the project, not how it's being funded, not the scope of the project. We need a firehouse. Help us out. So it's, the initial appeal is being done to everybody, everybody's getting one in North Hero. The second Grandis mailing will be a little more complicated. Second Grandis mailing, we're planning to do in sometime in July, and it will include the meat and potatoes of what it is that we're trying to accomplish. It'll explain the firehouse, it'll explain that the fire, it's not only got one project, it's actually two projects, it's both the firehouse and the town garage, and the related work that goes putting these on the same site. It will explain about the logic of how it's going to have some really good explanations of how the town firefighters raise their own money and why this is such a unique situation that we have a chance to really contribute and make this go much more smoothly. And we should, because whatever we don't raise by personally raise from the Friends of the North Station or direct donations to the fire department will come in a bond. We'll have an explanation of what the bond will be, likely when it will take place. If the bond is for this much money, it will give us an approximate idea of how it will affect you as a homeowner in the town of North Hero. So this one's gonna have real meat and potatoes to it. It also we will have been talking to people long enough about the project that we will be able to get some feedback. And we'll be able to address, like if there becomes a common theme of people don't like the idea, some particular idea, we'll have a chance to address that at this point. So there may be a frequently asked questions response page or something like that. So this will be done like the cider mailers you get, where they have like 3 pages that are all sort of stapled together front and back. This will have a lot of information in it. It's also going to invite people to come to a public meeting, which we are going to have scheduled sometime either for the end of next month or the beginning of sometime late July, early August. We'll do a public meeting. So that's all part of the second mailer. Third mailer is going to go out closer to whatever the date's going to be for the bond vote itself. It will be a follow-up on everything. It will include it will be, again, sort of probably like the cider mailer is what we're thinking at this point. And it will include floor plans, new elevations, not the existing ones that we have from Coneco's work, but new ones from the new architect. So we'll have new renderings, we'll have a new floor plan. We can put those in, even if they're just little half-page drawings, that'll give people more information. The other thing is the last of these mailers is designed to get people out to vote. We want to really encourage people, get out, vote for the bond. That's the third, so there's 3 mailers going out to everybody in North Hero. All right, so, town office, people already show up and ask Lisa questions about this, and they're really not tasked or responsible for answering these. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a display downstairs in where the books are. We're going to have renderings, floor plans. We're going to have the QR code on it. So if someone shows up and says, "Boy, I like this, I want to give," they could do it right there on the spot. We'll also have my name and phone number attached to it. People have questions, they'll be able to contact me directly. So that keeps it out of Mike's hair. It keeps it, hopefully we'll keep it somewhat out of Lisa and Corinne's hair, and it'll be my hair, which there isn't much left, so we're not worried about it. Okay, that's the town office. The web presence, both the town and the North Hero Volunteer Fire Department have a web presence. And I've been told, though I have not followed up on this, that there will be a page dedicated to this on each website. Do you have one up yet?
I gotta check out, I checked on it 2 days ago, it wasn't up yet, so I'll have.
And Corinne said someone's gonna do that in, okay, so that's the web presence. The Islander. Our thoughts are that we'll do 3, we got 5 minutes left, I'm working as fast as I can. The Islander. We're going to do 3 articles in the Islander. First article is I'm meeting with Michael Frett on Friday. And we're going to lay out what we wanna say in the first article. It's really gonna be sort of an interview. I guess I will, the other question is Mike, should he be there? I don't know if I have an answer for that. I'm happy to be the spokesperson on behalf of the fire department. I think I can fairly represent. First article again will just be about the fire department. Second article, really the articles in the island will be primarily about the fire department. The second article, what we're hoping for is a story. You want to do a human interest story that shows how somebody in the volunteer fire department interacted with somebody in the town and show like a dialogue of how this, like, John Smith got the call at 6:15 on February 20th. It was 14 degrees out. He jumped in his car, but it'll be more of a first person, sort of a dialogue of, it's gonna be, Joan Smith called, who lives in North Hero. She called because her fire alarms went off and she found out she had a chimney fire. So it's gonna be a dialogue of how people interact, because I think that's really important to understand that our volunteers, who are our neighbors, are interacting with people who need fire services, who are also our neighbors. So I think the idea is we try to this will be more of a personal kind of interaction to show what happens. Third article is not yet determined. First article, they will do free. The second two, there will be a cost associated with them. And I've captured that in my little letter here, that will likely be a cost. Front Porch Forum, Corinne suggested that the Front Porch Forum be utilized to put information in about this. We haven't quite figured out how we're gonna do this, but someone who is a friend of the North Station is going to be in charge of different people putting information in about this, to just keep this in front of people. The idea is over the next 3 months to keep this in front of people, to continue to get them to understand that every dollar we give, we don't have to put in the bond vote, but if we do a bond vote, please come and vote in favor. Front Porch Forum, still to be determined the date of the public meeting. One of the things we discussed was we have a new piece of fire equipment that we want to be able to get out for the public to see up close. We'd like to work out a way to park it here on some weekend, park it up at the station some weekend, maybe park it down at the state park. Just so people can see it, and it could have a sign on it that says, looking for a new home. And the idea is to keep it, and again, to keep the need and the reality of what we're doing in front of people as much as we can. We've also discussed the possibility of doing a party or a fundraiser. Perhaps somebody like Shore Acres of the North Hero House would be willing to host some kind of party.
Okay, want to jump to agenda building?
No, I think we,
Pretty much keep the same.
keep the agenda the same. All right, thanks for hammering through that.
Yes, thank you, Don.
So let's, I think that,
Invoices, yeah, Michael's got them right there.
Yep.
All right. I'll make a motion there to approve the invoices from Stride, which will be for the,
$1,432.35.
yeah,
And the invoice from Don for 34.5 hours. The amount of $3,000.
okay, and I'll make this,
So moved.
okay, there we go.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye,
All right, good.
make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. There we go, 15 seconds to spare.
We do. What? Is there gonna be an AI?
You want the AI?
Yes.
You got it. Thank you. Can you just, and then.
I will end this.
Any other questions? Even though we retired or something?
Oh, it's-